Hey everyone, welcome to this episode of Modern Web. My name is Tracy. You can follow me on Twitter at LadyLeet, and I'm here today with Ben Lesh. Hi, Ben.
That's me. That's good. We get confused.
Yes, and we're here with Adam too, Adam Rackis.
Hello.
Hi. And so, Adam and Ben actually have really easy names to follow on Twitter. It's literally just their names.
Mm-hmm.
I'm the confusing one. But we're trying out this new format because Ben and Adam are fun to hang out with if you haven't hung out with them before. And, there's some hot topics we want to talk about. Are they hot, though? Are they hot? Maybe they're not hot enough.
I mean, it's web development, so it's about as hot as it's going to get. Some salty takes.
What is the hottest? What is like the most hot take? I don't know if I want to call it a traumatic experience, but like that has hit web dev tech in all of your existence.
Just like my personal hot takes, or like anyone's.
Anyone's.
Like
when did the internet come burning down?
I don't know. I mean, there's been a few times, but like. I'm still waiting for I'm still waiting for a lot of people to figure out that React's overrated, but that's probably the hottest take of it. But it's not like it's, I don't know.
Yeah.
Like I have a distinct feeling that all the other frameworks, like on a technical level, are going to start lapping React just because of them having to have like abstractions around React Native and the diffing virtual DOM and their own like the way that hooks are.
But React will always pay the bills, just like jQuery. So it was like React would become like the whole like jQuery is dead, but we're all still using it. No,
I mean jQuery is on the internet a lot of old sites, but I mean we don't really use jQuery day to day. So I mean, is React going to hit the jQuery point where it's still on a ton of websites that are old, but all new developments done in like Solid or Svelte 5? I doubt it, but it
yeah, I mean, the thing that will crush any given technology right now is like, if it falls behind another technology and a large language model can easily convert the code over to the new technology. Like that's different. It's never been like that before. And like, I'm going to guess that like ChatGPT or Copilot probably would make pretty quick work of converting most React components into solid components or something like that.
Like just doing the grunt work.
Yeah. I mean, it wouldn't be completely accurate, but like as far as getting the job done really quickly, like I bet it would be a 10x speed up over, having someone hand roll it again.
What about you, Adam? What has been the hottest take in your existence that you've seen on the internet? Or a few that you can remember?
Oof, put me on the spot. I guess, anytime somebody says something good about Tailwind, that breaks Twitter for a good couple of days, if not longer. Hasn't happened recently, though. I should get on that.
Yeah. Well, when Ken Wheeler was canceled, that was pretty, but that wasn't tech. That was like, I don't know what that was.
That was a weird misunderstanding or a desire. Someone wanted to misunderstand what was going on.
Which again, we won't go into it, but you can just Google.
Yeah.
Yeah. Okay, cool. So today we're talking about, I don't know, I guess we can call them warm takes because they're not even warm. Maybe they're lukewarm. It's a tepid bath.
Lukewarm takes. So all right. So I do want to talk about the Tailwind thing really quick though.
Oh yeah, sure.
Let's do it.
Oh, see, Adam, you sniped them.
Yeah. And this is like this topic's been beaten to death, but my take on it is probably not the spiciest, but it's basically that yes, the Tailwind syntax is hot garbage, but it's less hot garbage than maintaining a long-running code base that has like the cascade and a ton of styles and whatever. Because every code base I've ever been in that's more than like 3 or 4 years old, it's non-trivial. Like you end up having a whole bunch of dead styles. There's a whole bunch of, importance in there and like all this crap that people like, build in there. And the CSS experts of the world are really good at coming up with demos of CSS and like showing what a crisp, clean, like here's my hello world for this cool animation feature looks like. But that and maintaining cascading style sheets with that cascade and the fact that it's like, there's no real direction for where anything came from. Maintaining that in the long running code base are two wildly different things. One is super trivial and it's just you have knowledge of some CSS properties, and the other is an actual skill that's very hard to learn and very hard to deal with. So I don't know, CSS is also some of the coolest stuff we've got right now. Like all the new stuff that comes out in CSS is amazing. But Tailwind and Atomic CSS are a necessity in a long running code base, even though they do indeed look like trash. They're awful to look at and they're awful to read. They're not any better than inline styles, but it'll save you a lot of problems.
I think they're better than inline styles, but there's other ways to fix the cascade that have their own problems. Things like styled components, like that fixes the cascade, but man, they're even clumsier and more of a pain to deal with than Tailwind, in my opinion. A lot of boilerplate that you have to dump. Every component needs its own redeclaration with the styles that you inject. It just sucks.
Well, I mean, Tailwind is inline styles. It's just more powerful inline styles, right?
Yes,
they're better. They're better than inline styles because there's a lot more features to what you can do.
Media queries.
Yeah.
I love this tepid bath we're in.
Yeah. Still looks like trash. Anyone that doesn't think it looks like trash is just lying.
When are they going to fix it?
Never. They can't.
They can't.
It's shipped. There's too many people using it. The only way to fix it would be to develop a completely different CSS framework, and anything you came up with would look pretty much the same. It'd just be this atomic, until there's until they ship not CSS, the next thing that is CSS that does the same thing that's a better language, there's pretty much no way to fix it. You'd have to build here's a styling language that has no cascade, and all these other, all sorts of other things. You'd have to have some weird new declarative way to style stuff that was just.
If you're one of those people that has strong aesthetic opinions and you need your code to look a very particular way and you get angry if it doesn't, you'll probably despise Tailwind because it's just going to force a certain way on you, and it works well, but you might not like how it looks, and if you don't, then tough because you have to live with it. But don't be like that.
Oh, okay. So as you get older in JavaScript land or in development land, you just care less about how things look because
you should.
It's all trash anyways.
Yeah. It looks like crap, but it all looks like crap. So whatever.
So you get less what's the word? Hipster is not the right word. Less aesthetically opinionated.
Yeah.
There's no catchy word, but yeah, don't be that. Be less aesthetically opinionated.
The dog drinking coffee in a fire. Yeah, pretty much.
Should we talk about Remix?
Sure.
Are we excited about Remix?
I haven't used it yet. So.
Well, Adam, kick us off.
Briefly. Yeah, I looked at it very, very briefly. Version 1, I'm sure it's gotten a lot better. I'm glad it exists. I'm glad there's alternatives to Next that people might prefer. And I'm really happy that they're getting React server components added. They seem to run on a loader architecture, which is what SvelteKit has. So you upfront load all your data in the route for that route or sub route, which is fine for a lot of use cases, but it's just so much more convenient to load data inside the components that need it. So you can just conditionally render whatever components you might want or need based on whatever logic you have. And then those components can just load whatever data they need, which is a lot more flexible. It's a foot gun. You can screw that up really easily and build bad things, but I really like that direction that Remix is going, and I hope it succeeds for them.
Yeah, I feel like Remix has been a little quiet on the scene, especially after the acquisition, but maybe they've just been busy because, you can't make money by just chatting on Twitter, can you?
Wait, who is Remix acquired by? I don't
Shopify.
Oh, that's right. I did see that. Now that I think about it.
But is Remix going to become the de facto e-commerce solution due to their acquisition?
I don't know. I mean, I think the world is going to probably. I'm betting the world's going to change pretty rapidly over the next 5 years, as far as like what you're going to see, especially for e-commerce sites, because you're going to see like you've got frameworks like Qwik and Builder.io, and Qwik is, in my opinion, even though I don't know if I would use it for production right now because it's not. I don't know how battle tested it is. It has ideas I think are a generation ahead of other frameworks right now.
I'm just going to take that clip. Just take that one clip right here at 11 minutes and 48 seconds and send that to Mishko.
Yeah, I mean, you can, and I'm not kissing his butt or anything. Like, it's just a matter of like fact that what Qwik is doing is. If I was going to say,
part of I wouldn't use in production. That's the part.
Well, I mean, yeah, that's true. It's the same. It's the same reason I wouldn't use bun in production, right? Like it's just too new. Like I'm not gonna like have multi-million-dollar deals going across, something that I don't know for a fact has already been used a billion times. So I mean, it is what it is. But like, with the way, just think about like 2 years ago. Large language models, like most people never heard of them. They sucked if you did use one. Like now they're ubiquitous. My children use them for things like, and what's going to end up happening is they're so good at producing code. It's a matter of time before you can get some really advanced framework like Qwik and just generate your shopping experience and just have all of the hard engineering problems written in some runtime that some engineer like Mishko or whoever wrote, and like the rest of it should be more of an afterthought or just tweaking. So I don't know. I think that at least for those generalized like cookie cutter experiences like shopping and those sorts of things, you're going to see the world shift quite a bit. For building like productivity apps and stuff, that's going to be different. But yeah.
I mean, e-commerce apps have already sort of become cookie cutter already as it is, right? I mean, there's a bunch of services that'll just stamp out, give it your product listings, and it'll generate a whole site for you.
Yeah. So it's making them efficient, I think, is been the real problem.
Yeah. I have to say, as a consumer of these shopping experiences, that Shopify, like one-click Shopify Pay, and that like one-time passcode thing that you get to just pay and just everything's there. And now they're giving you like points, like 1% back or something like that. It's pretty solid. It's pretty good. Like I was emailed $5. They were like, oh, we're giving you $5 in Shopify cash to like spend money however you please. And I ended up spending like an extra $100 on Black Friday. I mean, it's so stupid. Like that's all I needed to be baited. It's just, here's $5. Oh, thanks. Let me spend more money. But yeah,
you were an amazing data point for some data scientists. Like, look at how great this $5 policy is. We got Tracy to drop $100.
It is so true. It's disgusting. But I meant to ask Ben for his credit card, but I was like, maybe that's a little rude.
Do that? We can just ask Ben for his credit card. Is that a thing?
I was thinking I could. Yeah.
That's ask my kids. I'm sure it is a thing.
There needs to be some like blackmail happening or something like that. Or maybe I could just connect him into the Apple, like my Apple credit cards. What's it called? Apple Pay?
Yeah.
Anyways, point being, okay, so Remix adding RC, are we like, okay, so we never really like, okay, so Adam, you're just excited about maybe like a better alternative to Next. And, you're kind of excited about like how they're doing things.
Yeah, I mean, I think more competition is always good. I love Next, and I don't have the problems with it that others do. I'm not looking to leave Next, but I love seeing other options. And I know other people despise Next for some reason. So I'm glad there'll be potentially an option or an opportunity for them to use something else.
It's probably just because it's overhyped sometimes. Like, I don't know. There's lots of all the other competition seems about the same. The real thing with anything React based though that I would be concerned with, and teams of like where you have like a mixed bag of like talent levels, is the fact that they still have access to all of the React hooks, and they've got like, it's just JavaScript, and there's these examples all. I mean, it's the same thing that ChatGPT does with React, right? Like, where there's like millions and millions of examples on the internet, and like 90% of them are trash. And so like people are like, how do I do this? And they're just like, oh, I know, use effect, and then 2 other use effects, and like 7 more use effects. And
It'd be nice if you could just like clean the internet a little bit.
Yeah, I mean, it's the same. Like, the funny thing is the complaint that people get with RxJS, it's exactly the same problem that people have with React, which is like they're doing push-based reactivity and then just overcomposing the crap out of it because they're working off of really bad examples that worked off of really bad examples that worked off of really bad examples. Like, it is what it is. But like, that's the major concern I have with React-based modern frameworks of any sort, is the fact that they're React-based and people have access to all of those things. And, you know, like it's anything that serves more to try to put you on rails to keep you from being like, I need to have 7 use effects right here, like, or just like at the very least did something to make that really unintuitive. It's probably a good thing, but.
You know, it's funny. So Adam, Ben's been in this new job for like what? Like a few months?
Yeah, it's like 6, 7 months, something like that.
6 or so. Oh my God, It's been forever. What the hell?
Yeah.
It's a long time.
I didn't know you switched jobs. Last time we talked was at Render and you escaped layoffs. It sounds like you got laid off shortly thereafter.
No. At Render, he was already working the new job.
Yeah. I had been laid off with like, I worked at Bridgewater. I got laid off with like 500 people or something like that. They laid off a lot of folks.
500 out of 550.
No, they had a big company, but I don't know all of the positions that were smoked, but that like a huge swath of my department was definitely gone. So,
but it's really funny because as I listen to Ben, I'm like, oh my God, you're older in your job. You can tell he got promoted and he has more responsibility because of the way he talks. Really
no. I think I had these same opinions before. I would hope.
You're becoming more tepid.
No, everyone I work with is really good. I mean, thank goodness I don't have to babysit anybody. Like, I can trust them with React hooks. They don't do anything dumb with them.
That should be on a protest.
I don't hate them. I just like, how do I put this? Again, it's got exactly the same problem that RxJS does. Like you're like, here's a bag of tools, and people are like, whoa, look at this. I can stick this together in some weird way. And it's like, you drive down the street and everyone's built their house out of Legos, but they're all like crazy. And like, all they really needed to do was use like a wall piece, and a roof piece, and they'd be done. And instead they're like, no, I have this cool way where it's held together with pipe cleaners and stuff. Like, it's bad. You're
using all the 1x1s and the 2x2s.
Yeah.
Or the 2x1s.
Yeah.
I took apart a lot of Legos this weekend. Yeah. Like 80 pounds of Legos. I don't know what I was doing. Don't ask.
Do you know what I think the problem with the development world is right now is that there's a lot of really smart people already solving a lot of the really hard problems. And I honestly think that they either see the people solving hard problems and try to emulate it and fail because they were hard problems, right? Or they are just bored and they invent hard problems that they want to solve, right? Like they're like, you know what I want to do is I want to write my own thing around a WebSocket or whatever, and they could have just used Socket.io, or they wrap something with Socket.io to do like what they could have just done with a plain WebSocket. Like everyone constantly overthinks things because the solutions of 10 years ago required you to think a lot, and the solutions of today honestly don't require that much thought. Like, fetch some data, put it in this AG grid component or whatever you've got.
Maybe that's why I've been like a little bit bored lately, or trying to figure out, life or technology, right? But I mean, help me understand, so, okay, this is we're going off topic here, but like, right now everybody's like, oh my God, server-side rendering is the way, right? But that kind of goes back to, like back in 2015, we weren't thinking that was the way. So like what changed back then? And were we doing the same thing back then? Like,
Hype train.
The fact of the
making
matter is,
bad decisions.
we just have better
Yes.
tools now. I mean, you could server render way back when with ASP.NET MVC or PHP. But then when you wanted to do things on the client side and make things interactive on the client, you'd have to hand off to like a jQuery script or whatever. React gave us a component model that ran on the server or the client. And then finally, something like Next sort of stitched it all together and handled the difficult things like hydration for you. And now React Server components are taking that an even step further and streamlining some of the data access and pushing more of that to the server. So people complain and roll their eyes and say, we're just reinventing PHP, but it's a lot more subtle than that. We're getting PHP, but with client-side interactivity baked in, which is pretty cool.
I do think it'd be really funny to see someone like roll like a PHP jQuery app and like have it drag race like the modern whatever. Because I mean, it's going to be it's going to win. It's just not going to be maintainable, right? Like that's the whole thing. Like, I've said this before. If I had a company like Amazon, let's say, where like I was making billions off of a website, like why not raw dog all that stuff? Just like absolutely build it from scratch with my own. It's like why like feature velocity. When's the last time you even noticed a new feature on Amazon? Honestly. So it's like one of those things where it's just like, no, you just make this thing as fast as you absolutely can. And, who cares if it's in React or Svelte or whatever it is that you're Angular, like, who cares? Because you're Amazon.
Well,
you're making
and
billions.
It's e-commerce. I mean, you want speed first. You're not trying to ship a million cute little features. You just want the products to get put in front of your users as fast as possible. And you want the payment process to be as seamless as humanly possible. You're not
reliability and speed is all you really want.
But that's all people are like talking about these days, right? Which is kind of why it's just like, okay, yeah, cool, but like it's less visual. It's less like, I mean, for me being, very visually motivated, I'm like, what's exciting these days? But I mean, performance obviously is exciting, but it's like it's harder to like feel. I suppose.
Yeah. All the sexy work being done in the web, in my opinion, is mostly internal apps, data visualization stuff. Like those things, you do a lot more. You'll be uploading files and like trying to get screen grabs of specific sections so you can send it to like a Slack or something. Like there's all sorts of interesting problems you have to solve there in like bigger chunks of data. And
so like this sexy work is in like internal apps and database.
Mm-hmm. Absolutely. And
which like before, a few years ago, I was like, oh, I just work on internal apps. It's crap.
Yeah. But like the truth is the internal apps like have more interesting problems to solve, and they have cooler data, and they have like, or even productivity apps that are like something you share with somebody. Like you maybe your customers are buying some software as a service thing. Then you've got this weird mixed bag where performance matters, but it's still not like, performance like you'd need for e-commerce site. Like performance matters, but you're also shipping larger chunks of stuff. And like a lot of, there's tons more streaming data in that stuff. So you're looking at why I get involved or I get hired to do things because of observables or whatever, but there's a lot more push notifications and stuff to productivity apps, where like e-commerce apps are just like fetch the products, submit the order. Like there's not push notifications and stuff, but like we're still in a world where all of the frameworks and all of the data access stuff and things like suspense and everything is just like really e-commerce oriented. It seems like they're really focused on this, like I'm getting one piece of data and displaying it, and they're not really focused on like, I have a stream and it's connecting and it failed and now it's reconnecting and I'm getting data from it and I am recovering this stream and it's stateful in the back end. Like they don't have stuff like that.
Well, sure, but look at the money behind it. Like you've got Vercel behind it, and they're trying to get people on Vercel's infra, which is fine. You're much more likely to have someone shipping e-commerce stuff on Vercel's infra than a really cool fintech dashboard.
Yeah. I mean, no doubt. It's just like I think that my lament is the fact that everyone is like, look how sexy blah is, when it's like literally the most boring technology I can think of. But it's like all anyone talks about.
So Ben's like the artisan, like, I'm gonna be the artist, and then Adam's like, this is where the money is.
No, I think Ben's got better money than me. We're both all about that money, but Ben's better at it.
But yeah.
I actually work on things, what I work on is public, mostly public, but a little closer to the e-commerce side, which is why I'm more excited about some of the RSC and suspense stuff than Ben is. Streaming data, that's stuff that we're really trying to use at work for some of the stuff that I work on. So I'm really excited by that. My last job before Riot, I was working on the sort of internal type productivity apps. And so what Ben said, like RSCs would have zero value. It was just a client rendered SPA that it had like a megabyte of JavaScript, but nobody cared because this was all being used by people on fast networks on Chrome. And so it was fast enough and it got the job done. And there was a lot of rich client interactions, a lot of data visualizations, there were AG grids. So it would have a terrible Lighthouse score, but it made a lot of money. So the DevRel people who think Lighthouse scores matter can just cope.
Yeah. You want to make millions of dollars, come on something better than AG Grid. Because AG Grid is everywhere. Like anywhere I work, it's got AG Grid because it's like, this is like a sales pitch for them, really. Like it's one of those things where if someone's like, hey, I need this really feature-rich table today, I'd be like, all right, here's AG Grid.
Love it.
I mean, it's not.
AG Grid did not sponsor this podcast, but they should.
They didn't, because I'm gonna say something bad about them right now. It's like 2 megs of JavaScript to ship this to browser. It's huge. So like, it's not perfect, but
which is why we have performance issues.
I mean, but then again, an internal app, like 2 megs over the wire when you're on a full gig, intranet connection, like it's just whatever. Like you're VPN'd in and it's fine. So,
but if AG Grid will sponsor this podcast, we can just edit out selectively a few bits of it.
Edit up and just see me talking with a beep over top of it.
I'm keeping it all in. I'm just going to send this to them, and then they can make the decision about the next episode.
I've joked with a few times that if I wanted to benefit my last few employers the most, they should pay me to leave and go get a job at AG Grid.
And just fix the 2 megabytes.
Yeah, just see if I can get that whittled down to something that was actually tree shakeable or whatever. Like they have ways to do it. It's just, it's
AG Grid pay you a lot of money.
They should have a lot of money. Everyone uses them.
It's 2 megs though, but that's easily cacheable. You can service worker cache those bundles or just use HTTP cache headers. And then on all your subsequent browsers to that internal productivity app, it's just cached. So it's bad for e-commerce.
We've got a separate chunk of just like making a separate chunk of just the AG Grid stuff because it doesn't change that often, but it's just big enough that it's like, gotta make sure that this is downloaded on its own. So yeah, I mean, realistically, there's ways to get around it. But yeah, it's
like a feature-rich table that just like never loads.
Yeah, no. It's I mean, it's quirky, it's extensible, but not like infinitely extensible.
Stepchild.
Yeah. It's just one of those things. Like but for what you get, man, it's definitely worth whatever licensing fee that you have to pay for it. Like it's same day. Like
you're not going down that I can build it myself path.
Oh, I have built them.
Let's just all quit our jobs and make a new AG Grid. And we'll just be like 1% bundle size.
Yeah. Well, I mean, there's straight up. So I had to build one time because they were trying to leverage an AG Grid to like make this thing where they were displaying thousands of cells that were updating in real time. And there's just too many DOM elements. Like it wouldn't like plus all the code involved in AG Grid, like executing plus updating all these DOM elements is just too slow. And so I built one from scratch that was using like virtualized canvas basically to like render all these cells. And there's trade-offs there too. I mean, it's not super accessible. You can make it accessible, but it's difficult. Yeah, there's all sorts of weird stuff that you end up having to do a lot faster.
Well,
That's crazy. Ken Wheeler told me
Yeah.
he built something similar to that.
Mm-hmm.
I guess there's a lot of room
Yes, he
for
did.
optimizing away AG Grid.
Yeah, I mean, it's like one of those, like, when are you at a place that has like thousands of cells that needs to have like them updating real time very quickly? Financial
We're gonna
text
come back
probably.
for episode 2, and me and Ben are going to be like bloody and bruised up, and we're going to be like, AG Grid is great. Now from our
They send the AG Grid thugs to get us.
They could send us swag.
They could.
Anyways, I don't know. Do they
we show up in
get
AG
swag
Grid
though?
hoodies and hats.
Yeah.
We love it.
I don't know. I mean, it doesn't sound like I hate it, right? Like I would tell anyone to use it if they.
This
If they
is
needed
again.
to-
This is just like a very tepid conversation. You're like, "Am I hot? Am I cold? I don't know. I'm just here. I'm just
Right.
here,
Right.
sitting in warm bath water." Anyways, okay, we're at time, but this was fun. So we're gonna be doing this like new format of just hanging out and chatting. So send us your hot takes. You can find us all on Twitter because Twitter is still the cool place to be, y'all, isn't it? Yeah. But yeah, send us your hot takes on Twitter. I mean, again, we're going to be recording every month, so we want to hear what is on your mind and what you want us to discuss, so that we can have more tepid baths together. Or maybe somebody will get like really riled up at some point in time. I don't know, but
I will not take this besmirching of AG Grid any further.
Awesome. Okay, and then follow us on Twitter at modern.web. And you can follow Adam and Ben and myself. I'm Lady Leet, Ben Lesh, Adam Rackis, and we'll see you all next time. Thanks a lot.